Well. All right, let's get into today's episode. So, as you guys are seeing, I don't know if it's, yeah, no, it's in frame. There we go. This is what we're going to be reviewing today. It's the Godox V1 Mid. And the very first thing that I'm going to mention is I don't think that Godox has any Gen Z people working in their offices, because Mid is probably not what I would have named it. But I mean, it is what it is. It's a stupid trend, and it's gonna, the phrasing, and it's gonna pass pretty soon anyway. So this is the box that it came in. It comes with your USB charger, USB-C, all that. I'm gonna get into all the features that it has, but nice design, pretty much what we're used to from Godox. Pretty simple. That is that unit. Now, this is the V1 Pro. This is the one that they sent us a few months ago, and it's really good. We posted a video recently where we used it for a full shoot in West Hollywood, where we were shooting indoors, and it did an amazing job. No surprises there. But today's video is not about this. I'm going to bring it up a few times, some things that we're going to compare with it, mainly the size, because I want you guys to see the size between that one and the Mid. Let's get this going. I don't want to keep you guys in suspense. This is it right here. This is the V1 Mid S for Sony. Always get the flash that is for your system. So this is the Sony version because I shoot with Sony. And yeah, check out the size difference. Let me see. You guys can, yeah, there we go. So that's where you can really see the comparison, what the benefit is of either one. So if you need more power, if you need slightly quicker recycling time, this is going to be a little bit better. If you want something that's a little bit more portable, that still gives you a real decent amount of power, this is probably going to be a better bet. Additionally, the V1 Pro that I have, I don't think they made a touchscreen. Did they update it? I don't think they did. Let me know, guys. But this is the V1 Pro that I got, and it's not a touchscreen. It's one of the things that I mentioned. Doesn't kill it. It's okay, but I do like that with the V1 Mid, it is the new integration of the touchscreen from Godox. So it's a nice intuitive screen. One of the things that somebody mentioned in a previous video is as far as the TCM button, right? That's what it's called, because I never shoot in TTL, so switching from TTL to manual is not something that I think about, but it's very easy to change it. On the bottom, there's an M, you hit that, and now it goes to TTL. So you can change it that easily. There's not a dedicated button, but it's as easy as pressing the screen. So that's that. Let's get into a few of the technical aspects. I'm sure some of you guys are curious as to what this flash offers. Obviously, that's why you're watching this video. So I'm going to rifle through these pretty quickly, and I'll expand on a couple. So touchscreen, obviously, that's a nice selling point because things are a lot more, I think, a lot easier to read and a lot easier to control and a lot easier to understand. I didn't read the manual, and without reading the manual, you can pretty much figure out exactly what the controls do and what the menus offer. So obviously, touchscreen, really nice, intuitive. It's a decent size for what it is. I know you guys saw a video that I posted recently on the newer Z3, and the screen on that is massive, but that's also a really big flash. So this one, it fits for the size of the flash. Another thing is that this one has 55 watts of power, where the V1 Pro has 76 watts of power. So obviously you get more power out of this, but like I showed you guys before, there's a trade-off because that one's a lot bigger. 55 watts is pretty decent. At full power, your recycling time on this is going to be 1.7 seconds, and it gives you up to 650 full power pops. So, I mean, that's a decent amount. I can't see why in a day you would need more than that. On top of that, I know with the V1 Pro, you can do 100 full power pops until it starts giving you the overheating error. I've never tested it, or not error, I guess warning. I've never tested it because I don't think you should be, redlining your equipment, so to speak, like that. But if you need to, you can. 100 full power on that, 100 on this one as well. Just, give it a minute to cool off and keep up. You don't want to be burning these things out. It weighs 413 kilograms, whatever that is in American. It has a USB-C charger. So with this one, let me show you guys. With the Mid, you open the little latch, and then the battery is right here, and the USB-C is right there on the battery. With the Pro, I don't want to make this video too much about a comparison, but obviously it's right here, so I'm going to show you guys. It's on the battery here, so you can just attach it while it's left on the flash. With this one, if I remember correctly, there is a USB-C on the side. I'll put a correction on the bottom in text if what I'm saying is incorrect, but I don't think you can charge it through this. I think that's only for firmware updates, so you do have to open it and then charge the battery. So pretty sure that that's how it is because I plugged it in and I don't think it was charging, if I remember correctly. And it's a 2200 milliamp lithium ion rechargeable battery, if that means anything, as far as capacity. So I think it's more important, like the 1.7 seconds, 650 full power. So, but if you want to know the milliamp, that's what it is. It also does high-speed sync, which is pretty incredible for a small little flash. Like I've said before, I have the other ones here, like the IT30, the IT32. All these little flashes are compatible with high-speed sync, which to me is pretty incredible because if you remember back in the day, I've said this before, you would buy, these cheap flashes from eBay and they wouldn't give you high-speed sync. There definitely wouldn't be any touchscreen. You would need a pocket wizard to attach onto the flash and onto the camera. Each one of those things was $150. So already you were at $300 without even including the flash. So that's why I think I tried to convey this to you guys, that it's so incredible what you're getting for the money and how many features this thing has. So it does high speed sync. We'll probably do a video and post it, so you guys can kind of see how well it performs with that. It works as a receiver, obviously, with high speed sync. It works as a transmitter. So if you have one of these, you can fire the Pro, you can fire pretty much anything within the Godox ecosystem. And you can fire actually even some newer flashes now. That's a video that I posted as well about the Z3. If you guys want to check it out, that's something that nobody's talking about, which is insane because it's such a game changer. In any case, let's keep it moving. As far as the range, it goes from 1256 to full power, of course. So it's a nice big range, so you can control exactly how much power you're getting out of it. You can dial everything in, so that's nice. And zoom, as far as the tightness of the beam, you can go from 24 all the way to 105. So you hear it when you change it. There we go. And why would you want to do that? If you want a tighter beam, obviously. So back in the day, sometimes what I would do is I would change the zoom. So if I'm shooting outside and I need more power out of my flash, instead of it being 24 and just spreading light all over the place, I would bring it to 50, 75 and just narrow down the beam a little bit. So I would get a little bit more power out of the flash. So that's a little trick right there. There's also, I think it would work on this one. I know my friend Frank was telling me that it works on the AD100, which is a Pro Photo. You can also get the Godox version, but there's a Pro Photo magnetic Fresnel head that you put on that essentially narrows down the beam a little bit, and it also increases the power. Magmod also has a mag beam. I haven't played with the Pro Photo one, but I have played with the mag beam, not so much with that feature, with other features, but there are some options to increase the power a little bit. Now, as I was talking, I noticed that is extremely rigid, and I mean that in a good way, because here's the thing. When we tell our assistants to put B on a stand and it's behind our couple, I always tell them to put it like this, and then they can tilt the head of the Magmod, the grip, so they can go up, go down, whatever. What I tell them not to do is put it like this, right? Put it like this if they're going to angle it, because when the fire ticks and it flashes, it creates a little vibration. And on, older flashes, other ones that we were using, I think even that was pretty clicky too. No. So on older flashes, like whenever it would click, it could potentially go down, which is going to change the angle of the light, which is not what you want. But this actually feels ridiculously rigid. So Jesus, that's not something that I was going to talk about, but that is really good. Let me see. Yeah, this one's a little bit less rigid, and I think it's because of the size. Because this is a little bit smaller, that's really good, because usually I tell people to do this and go like that if they have it on camera, so that way when they lean forward, it doesn't tilt. But yeah, I don't think you're going to have an issue with that. That's really nice. Okay, that's not something that was on the notes, but something I was just playing with, and I like that. It has a modeling lamp, and it does 10 steps of power. So you can see that's at the lowest, that's at the highest. It's actually pretty powerful. So that's a nice little extra, and it's very easy to access. So you basically just scroll down from the top, and then you go to model, and then you just go up and down. Also on there, there's other settings. There's high-speed sync, photo cell off. So that's if you want to put it in slave mode. So obviously, if one flash goes off, this one will go off as well. I never use that because we like to have them on channels, so we can very specifically change the power that we want. Wireless, obviously, like I said, you go in there, you select the channel that you want. So I have it on 5 because that's my favorite number. And that's also where you set it up for sender, receiver. If you have it on receiver, you set it to the right group and channel that you want. And well, you set up the channel before, you set up the group there. And then when you do it on transmitter, you can control other flashes. So right there, this manual, that would be for this one. A would be whichever one you have for A, B, C, D, and so on. So there's that. Then on menu, I'm not going to go through every single thing on the menu, but that's where you guys are seeing right now some of the options. Like you can change the modeling lamp to continue so it stays on the entire time when you take a photo, or you can do it where interrupt, where when you have the modeling lamp on, it's going to stay on, and then when you take the photo, it's going to shut off while you're taking the photo, and then it'll come back on. So little things like that, nice that they're written out instead of, back in the day where you would have to search through the menus and figure out exactly what this meant. It was a little bit more tedious. I think it's come a long way. So that's really nice. Dial unlock, which that I always shut off. I know some people prefer having that, but what that does is when I turn it on, it just turns on instead of turning it on and then I have to spin the dial in order to turn it on. Time is of the essence when we're shooting. I want these things to, just be ready to go. It's me. Let me know what you guys think. If you enjoy having, the little dial as a protection, so that way you're not turning it on accidentally, I guess. But that's also why you have standby, in my opinion. So if you have standby, you just set that up. And anyway, you guys let me know what you think. What do you, what methods you guys do? And then the factory reset, language. Obviously, we set it in Espanol to practice our Espanol. And then right here, meter, feet. Obviously, I'm not going to go through every single little setting on here. The last thing I will do is change the step value. So when I'm changing the power, instead of changing by 0.1, it changes by 0.3. So that way I can change my settings a little bit quicker, because if you have it where it's going to be at 0.1, you're going to have to scroll 10 different times in order to change the power, from from one power to the next power. Instead, by doing it the way I have it by 1/3, it's just 3. So 0.3 that you're adjusting. I do that because if I want just a very minute change, I can do it on my camera. I'll just change the aperture. And yes, it does affect the background a tiny, tiny, tiny bit, but not as much as it will affect what's being hit by flash. So I prefer doing that and then changing these increments a little bit bigger. The round head is also magnetic. I think I mentioned that earlier, but I'm going to mention it, specifically. The reason I mentioned that is because you can use the, V1 Mid. You can use the AKR1 accessory kit. And that one comes with the color filters, the snoot, the honeycomb, 4-wing reflector, bounce card, diffuser plate, dome diffuser, all that. And it's, not terribly expensive. The only thing I'm going to say is that I don't think I put the wrong one, because I was looking at the CTOs. So I was looking, from the range from the most orange to the one that's more translucent. And I'm pretty 99% certain I put the darkest one, the one that is a full CTO. And when I was shooting with it, it didn't feel fully dialed in. I think it's not perfectly CTO. I'm going to send them a message about that, actually, because that is a big misstep if that's the case. Maybe I got the incorrect one. I don't know. Maybe I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but I'll reach out to them. The Magmod equipment obviously is more dialed in and the colors are perfect as far as the CTO goes. But, if you're starting out or if you want to save a little bit of money, start with this. Just understand that. Maybe what I would do is stack on one of the other, like I would do the darkest one and then put the lighter one on top of that, just to, make it just a little more orange. It's not going to be perfect, but it'll be a little bit better. But as far as that, it comes with the snoot, the grid, all those things are really useful things, really useful modifiers. So it's still not something that I'm going to completely say, don't get that. I think it's still a decent deal for what it is. Just understand that CTO little caveat. I'm going on a tangent again. Sorry, guys. The other thing is, allegedly, it has the Godox optic lens group, which is a different type of technology. Allegedly, this head is a lot softer as far as the spread. What it says is it gives a smoother transition of light, so it's a little bit less hard. I'm gonna test that out for you guys. So I'm gonna make a video where I'm gonna compare this to maybe like a square head or something like that. And the reason, I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to go over on this video. But the reason that I wanted to make this video with an unboxing, I know in the past I always say I like to experiment with these things first. The reason that I'm making this video first is I want to post this. I want you guys to leave questions, leave comments, give me things that I can go out and experiment for you guys. So one thing that I've been learning with posting a lot more consistently is I'll post something and then people will bring up questions that I perhaps wasn't thinking about. So now I'm going to be posting more unboxing first, and then I'm going to go out and shoot answering the questions that you guys left. I think that that's going to be a lot more beneficial to you guys, and I think it's going to help the channel grow. Obviously, we're trying to get this channel to grow, so if you guys like what we post, it would be amazing if you could subscribe. If not, I mean, it's all good. You know, go and find the content that is good for you. The last thing I'm going to say, going off of that little bit that I said, and there's a little segue. This just arrived in the mail. This is the AD100 Pro 2, and this is going to be the next unboxing video. So if you guys want to stay tuned, I'm going to do an unboxing on that, going over what the AD100 Pro 2 has, and then I'm going to go out and shoot with it, you know, answering some of the questions that you guys leave. So leave some comments, guys. Let me know what you want to watch, you know, from our channel, whether it is about this or other things. But yeah, we're going to take it out probably this weekend, experiment with it, and post a video for you with, you know, answers to some of the questions you guys leave. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing weekend. Let's have a great 2026. And yeah, bye, guys. I lied. Okay, so the reason that I had the IT30 and the IT32 here, forget the IT30, I'm not going to talk about that. IT32. We had Godox send us a few of these versions. I don't need 5 IT32s. I want to do a giveaway. Now, they're going to be a little used, obviously. By used, I mean we took them out once or twice to film for you guys. That's about as used as they are. I have one with a Sony mount, and I have one with a Canon mount that I'm going to give away. So let me know which mount you guys would want. But also, leave a comment below. I've never done a giveaway on the channel, so what would be the best approach? I don't really know. At the end of the day, the only thing that I want to make sure that it goes to somebody that's actually going to use it. I don't want it to go to somebody that just collects nonsense and collects equipment and it just sits there. I want this to go to somebody that's actually going to use it. So leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Like, what would be a good way to do a giveaway? You're going to get the IT32, the CTO that comes with it, all the accessories, even I think I have the boxes upstairs. I didn't throw them out. So let me know. I'll cover the shipping. I'll send it to you guys. It's a full giveaway. I think it's going to have to be in the United States because shipping is a pain outside of the country. Or I guess if you want to pay for shipping, if it's outside of the country, then, you know, I'm cool with that too. Anyway, let me know what a good giveaway idea would be. Let's give some stuff away, guys. I don't need all this stuff. I have what I need. So, yeah, let's go with that. All right, guys. Now that's it. Thank you for watching.